If you're looking for a totally delicious and versatile Tex-Mex salad, I've got just the thing. It's Fiesta corn and avocado salad. I'm going to start with the corn. So let me tell you how I do this. First, I cut off the bottom of the corn so it'll stand up straight, and then I run my knife between the kernels and the husk, just straight down, and they all just come off. I cook this in salted boiling water for about 5 to 7 minutes. Really depends on how tender the kernels are. So this is my system for cutting corn. Instead of having it bounce all over the kitchen, I get a sheet pan and a clean kitchen towel, and I just cut the kernels right onto the kitchen towel, just like this. So that's 3 ears of corn, and then pick up the kitchen towel and just put all the kernels right into the bowl. That works, right? Okay, the next I need cherry tomatoes. I've got 1 pint of cherry tomatoes. I use heirloom tomatoes because they look great. Cut in half through the stem. And then half a cup of red onion. Tex-Mex needs onion, right? And I've got 1 Holland pepper. And I'm going to show you how I cut it so that you have perfect little dice. Just cut it right down the sides, like that, and you get flat pieces that you can dice really easily. I know there's some left over, but you can snack on it. So I'm just going to dice this in like 1/2-inch dice. You can use orange pepper, red pepper, yellow pepper, or all 3 if you want a real fiesta. Somehow I think you should make this salad when corn is in season. You could use frozen corn, but it really never tastes the same. I sometimes serve this as a first course like a salad, but it's a great side dish, or it's gorgeous on a buffet. Next is 2 jalapeno peppers. What I did was I seeded them, took those ribs out, and minced them really finely. Gives it a lot of heat. It's great. Makes it very Tex-Mex. Okay, next is a lime vinaigrette, which is going to really wake up all these sort of Tex-Mex flavors. I'm starting with 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed lime juice. I need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1½ teaspoons of lime zest. That's got a lot of flavor in it. Little garlic, just 1 teaspoon, minced garlic. And because it's Tex-Mex, 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle chili powder, which is chili powder, but it's got a little smokiness in it. 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And I'm just going to whisk it all together. I love these little whisks. I love making vinaigrette in a measuring cup. You can measure it and whisk at the same time. Okay, I'm going to pour this over the salad. It's going to really be delicious. Think of all the flavors in this. Give it a big stir. Just make sure it's really well combined. It does look like a fiesta, doesn't it? It's going to be beautiful. And I have 1 more thing to add, avocado. What I did was I diced 2 avocados and I tossed them with lemon juice just to keep them from turning brown. And I added at the end because I don't want it to get too mushed up. I want to see the diced avocado. Okay, a little more salt and pepper. Make sure it's really well seasoned, because it is, after all, Tex-Mex. I'm just going to taste it just to make sure it's good. It's great. Got great heat, but it's also sweet from the corn and the tomatoes. Okay, now I'm going to put it in a serving bowl. And while I do that, let me show you some ways that I love to serve the salad. So I use it in my roasted salmon tacos instead of guacamole for a real change. It's great on the side with slow roasted spiced pork or tequila lime chicken. It's wonderful on a food table, and it's always the first to go. But this is the way I usually serve it. Put it in the middle of the table for a first course, and everybody just helps themselves. And now you know why I call it a Fiesta corn salad. It just looks like a fiesta. So I'm making confetti corn. First thing I'm doing is taking all the corn off the cob. I just think it's so much more delicious that way. Just cut off the end and just sit it up on its little rear end. And just slide your knife right between the kernels and the cob. You want to get all of the kernel and none of the cob. I'm going to saute it with red onions and peppers and fresh herbs. It's going to be absolutely delicious. Okay, so that's about a quart of corn kernels. I just want to get all the ingredients ready so when I get outside, I can stay outside. Okay, now the rest of the ingredients. I've got red onion, all chopped up. I'm going to saute that with a little olive oil first. I've got chopped orange pepper. That's going to go in the corn. Next is fresh herbs. I've got about 2 tablespoons, and it's a combination of chives, basil, and parsley. My friends are coming for a bridge party, and instead of making the usual chips and dip, I thought I'm going to make them sliders, which are little hamburgers, and confetti corn. And I'm going to do it all on the grill. So first I'm going to do the confetti corn. I've sauteed some onions and a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to add 1 pepper, chopped. I have a nice orange pepper, it's really sweet. Saute that for a minute. This is great doing it all on the grill instead of running inside for the stove and outside for the grill. I've got it all right here. Okay, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. And 4 cups of corn that I cut off the husks. Lots of salt and pepper. Give it lots of flavor. And just let it cook for about 10 minutes until the corn is really tender and the peppers are cooked. And then I'm going to add some fresh herbs. I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons of fresh herbs. I've got basil, chives, and parsley, just to give it nice, fresh color. How's that look?
Terrific.
Does that look like it would be good with sliders? Yeah. We're having mini hamburgers.
And aren't we playing bridge?
Well, at some point, I think we will. So I'm going to just put it in this bowl. You want to take it over to the buffet? Well, I put the sliders on the grill. I feel really strongly about guacamole. I know you don't hear that a lot. But I just think usually it's this puree of avocados that doesn't have a lot of flavor. And I just think it's got to have lots of flavor and be really chunky. This is how you take the pit out of the avocado. Just like that. Clunk. We'll have guacamole to start, then the chicken, some corn pudding, and a delicious key lime pie for dessert. These are perfectly ripe. I want them so that they're bright green. And they're ripe enough so that they come out of the shell really easily. If they're too ripe, you'll find they're really brown. These are just perfect. So green around the outside and yellow in the middle. These are going to be so good when Jeffrey gets home with chips and margaritas while the tequila lime chicken cooks. Got to have something special when he walks in the door. Okay, 1 more half. See, when they're ripe, it comes out really easily, and it's beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to season it. You know, people ask me all the time, what's the best way to keep the guacamole green? And there's really one key ingredient, lemon juice. There are all these theories about having the seed in it. Forget it. It's really about fresh lemon juice, and it's got to be freshly squeezed lemon juice. Okay, we've got that. And then all kinds of delicious things to season it with. Hot sauce. I like when it's really spicy. You can decide how hot you want yours. I like garlic in it, so chopped garlic. Red onions. It's going to be so good. Lots of salt. And freshly ground pepper. And this is the secret to really good guacamole. I don't puree it. All I do is cut into it, just like this. So it's really chunky. It mixes the ingredients together. And it stays really chunky this way. Just run your knife through the avocados. Okay, just mix it up and make sure the flavors are well blended. And the last thing I add is tomato. So I've chopped tomatoes. I've taken the seeds out. I put the tomatoes in last because I don't want it to color the guacamole. Just toss it lightly. I'm sure it needs more salt. I really want to get the right balance of avocado, lemon juice, salt and pepper. A little salt. That's pretty good. I think Jeffrey's going to love it with corn chips. Yellow corn chips, blue corn chips, or you can even get red corn chips. How crazy is that? That's going to be really good. One of my favorite ways to use this corn is in fresh corn pancakes. Let me take you back to the last time I made them. Instead of having it all over the kitchen, I take a sheet pan and I put a towel on top, and I cut the corn right onto the towel. And then I can just pick up the towel and pour all the kernels right into a bowl. Just run your knife really close to the cob so you get as much of the kernels as possible. That's 4 ears of corn. You'll need 3 cups of kernels. So now, instead of trying to collect corn from all over your kitchen, all I need to do is pick up the towel and pour it into the bowl. How easy is that? Okay, now I'm gonna make the batter. First, the dry ingredients. So I need 1 cup of, I use very fine cornmeal, and then I mix it with half a cup of coarser cornmeal. It's kind of medium grind. I just like the combination of the two. It gives a great texture. 2 teaspoons of sugar, just a tiny little bit of sugar. Give it a little sweetness. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. It's gonna make them rise. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Half a cup of flour, just lighten it, and then just level it off. And 1 tablespoon of salt. Okay, that's the dry ingredients. Now the wet ingredients. I'm gonna add them to the corn. So I've got 3 cups of corn. I'm gonna add 1 3/4 cups of buttermilk. The buttermilk has great thickness to it, and it's gonna make really good pancakes. 6 tablespoons of melted butter. Got it right there. Just pour it right in. 2 eggs. It is sort of like making pancakes. And then a little sriracha to give it some heat. And just give that a big stir. Next, I need chives. And then because it's corn, I thought a little jalapeno would be good. So I have 1 1/2 tablespoons of jalapeno. Just give it a little heat. Stir that in. Okay, so that's the wet mixture. And now I'm gonna pour the wet mixture into the dry mixture. So just in a circular motion, you don't wanna overmix these. You don't wanna develop the gluten in the flour, or you'll have tough pancakes. Okay, time to make the pancakes. So I'm gonna heat up a large saute pan, and I'm using clarified butter. And I make clarified butter by melting butter and allowing the white milk solids to settle to the bottom, and then I pour it off the clear golden liquid. It's got a higher burning temperature, so it's better for this. So a few tablespoons in the pan. And here's a pro tip. I use a measuring cup for making pancakes so they all come out exactly the same size. I'm using a 1/4 cup measure for each one. It just takes about 2 minutes, and they're ready to turn. They'll need about 1 1/2 minutes on the other side. Now I'll put them on a sheet pan lined with parchment paper and do the same with the rest of the batter. Then put them on a serving platter. I have to admit, I love corn muffins, and I thought for the breakfast outside, it would be perfect. Somehow this was transmitted from parent to child. My father loved corn muffins, too. First thing I need is 3 cups of flour. I'm making a breakfast barbecue for my friend Bobby Lieberman. I'm gonna make most of it outside. I haven't figured out how to bake outside, so that's gonna be right here. So that's 2 cups. We used to make these at Barefoot Contessa. We would make like hundreds every day. They're so good. 1 cup of sugar. This makes a lot of corn muffins. And 1 cup of cornmeal. I use medium cornmeal. I just think it's just the right texture. And 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. That's half a tablespoon. So that's the dry ingredients. I'm just gonna give them a quick mix. The thing about corn muffins is it has to have lots of flavor from the dry ingredients, but it's the wet ones that make all the difference because I want really moist, delicious corn muffins. Most of them are so dry they go in your throat. These are great. Okay, for the wet ingredients. First I need 1 1/2 cups of milk. I'm just gonna mix all the wet ingredients right here in the measuring cup. 2 sticks of butter. It's unsalted butter, it's melted. I've cooled it a little bit. Next is 2 eggs. Just give them a little stir. right into there. Can't wait till these come out of the oven. Okay, into the dry ingredients. That's it, it's that easy. Okay, just give it a little stir, make sure it's really mixed at the bottom. Time to scoop the muffins. Muffin pans lined with paper liners. So just one rounded scoop. These are big muffins. Rounded scoop, just like that, into each one. This should make about 12 to 14 corn muffins. I was kind of worried about how I was going to get everything done. I had so many things to cook, and I had to set the table and the grill. So I asked my friend Michael if he had any suggestions, and he offered to help. I mean, who would turn that down? Okay, into the oven, 350 degrees for 30 minutes, and these are going to be so good. Hot corn muffins from the oven, there's nothing better than that. Oh, wow. I'm just going to test and make sure they're done. No, toothpick comes out clean, they're perfect.